welcome back. So let's talk about operation and regulation of matters of national identity in Nigeria. Talking about enrollment and issuance, national EID card issuance, identity verification, as well as data harmonization and authentication. So if you have done your NIN, or you haven't, you need to listen. If you're part of those people talking about the cards, the payment, you want to also listen. And we have with us in the studio Dr. Kayode Adegoke, who is the head corporate communications, NIMC. That's the National Identity Management Commission. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Yeah, good morning, and it's a pleasure having me and my director here.
Yes, and also we have the Director Card Management Services at NIMC, Dr. Peter Iwebo. Thank you both for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Okay, let me start with Dr. Iwebo. How well would you say we have done so far, with this enrollment and issuance of national identity number?
Great. Thank you once more for the opportunity to talk to Nigerians about the National Identity Management Commission. We have done very well from our own assessment. As we speak, we have close to 115 million Nigerians that have been issued a unique identification. And we are growing by the day. We're increasing the pie. And our target is to be able to enroll Nigerians, like our mandates clearly defined it, that our responsibility is to enroll all Nigerians and legal residents and issue them the general multipurpose card. Before the arrival of the current DGCO, Engineer Abisoye Koka-Odushote, who has been very wonderful, has worked so hard. In the last 1 year, we have moved the needle. Close to about 15 million new people has enrolled. We're about 100 million as of 2023. By this year, we're about 115 million people have been added to the database, and it's growing by the day. So from that point of view, I can say that we're making good progress. We may not have covered every Nigeria, and what we're doing right now to be able to cover the whole Nigeria is that we're present in all the local governments in Nigeria. We're taking the enrollment to the people. We're moving it closer to the people by going to the ward. We're going to now be at the ward level so that we can be able to capture people. Our statistics has shown that most people in the urban area have been covered. A lot of people that we have not covered are in the very rural areas, and then the children. So we're working with local government agencies to open offices and enrollment centers at the ward level, so that we can be able to capture those that have not been captured. And they're also having a collaboration with schools, the Ministry of Education, the Ministries of Education, to see how we can also use the schools to reach out the school children who have not been enrolled.
Okay.
It's also interesting to know that we're also present outside the country. We have also enrolled a lot of Nigerians who are in our diaspora brothers.
Okay.
Have also been given opportunity to enroll. So we are making progress, and we're hoping to capture all Nigerians very soon.
Dr. Adegoke,
yes,
there was something in the papers this past week about us having to pay to get our identification numbers now. Is that true?
Okay, I think the information is simply incorrect, and I'm going to enlighten Nigerians on it. First and foremost, the most important element of the identification system as being managed by NIMC is the NIN, which is the National Identification Number. And the NIN is free. We have mentioned that at several fora, and we have enlightened our media partners to help us inform Nigerians that NIN issuance is free. Whenever you go to any of our centers, either in the state offices or the local government or through our front-end partners, the enrollment and the issuance for the NIN is free. For the card, we have also read a lot of misconception on the pages of some selected newspapers. Now, the misconception in the sense that, quite unlike what we did in time past, this card is driven by NIMC for and on behalf of the federal government and the private sector. The private sector led by the Central Bank of Nigeria and the NIMC, that's Nigerian Interbank Settlement System, with a local payment system, that's Afrigo. Now, this card has so many use cases. That's why we call it a general multipurpose card. Just like Director of Card Management Services, Dr. Peter mentioned, it is in the NIMC Act that outside the issuance of the NIN, NIMC should also issue the general multipurpose card. But for every transaction you do in Nigeria, what you need is the NIN. For instance, you want to get your Nigerian passport, they won't ask for your card, they will ask for the NIN. And that's why when you enroll, we give you your NIN slip. When you want to get your driver license, no one will ask you for your card, they will ask for the NIN. You want to register for any services or you want to access government services, it is the NIN. Even for recruitment into the security agencies and other government agencies, it is the NIN they will ask for. But for the card,
in other words,
yes,
you don't need the card.
Basically,
you just need the number.
Basically, yes. However, when you look at the benefit inherent in the card, you have no option but to get the card.
Okay, because so what are the benefits inherent in this card?
Okay, the benefits are unlimited. For instance, the card serves also as a payment card. Apart from identification card, you can use the card, yes, to do financial transaction.
How?
Okay, if you look at the card, there's a chip embedded in it. That's why it's been driven by the CBN through the NIPS for the payment app. NIMC, we have opened up so many applications on the card, even for future use cases. For instance, maybe government want to distribute palliative to the less privileged. The card is there for the government to be used for identification purpose. Also, you want to, maybe for ease of convenience, you want to have only one card. You can get the card, and for you want to transfer money, you want to withdraw money through the ATM, you can use the card. Yes, you can use the card. Then for physical identification, you can also use the card.
Doctor, please slow down. Does that mean that it will be linked to the banking system? So it doesn't matter which bank I use. If I want to withdraw money, I can use this card to withdraw from my bank.
Absolutely correct. The way the card is going to be issued this time around, quite unlike the past, is that you have to get it through your respective bank. You go to any of your branches or any of your bank branches to apply for it. And also, NIMC is going to make an online portal available for you to apply for the card. Like you rightly said, ma'am, the bank will issue the card for you, so you can use it for financial transaction.
For any of the banks.
Exactly. Exactly correct.
And doctor, okay. So I have my NIN and I have my number.
Okay.
So I can approach my bank and say, here's my number, please issue me a card.
Absolutely correct. In fact, one of the things, like Dr. Peter said, when Engineer Biso Ikoka Odushote, the DGC of NIMC, came on board last year, today marks a 1-year anniversary in the saddle as the DGC of NIMC. One of the things she wanted to do, and which she's doing, is that as a mandate for NIMC to issue the general multipurpose card, this card must be unique and must be something that Nigerians will embrace. And one of the things she did, rightly, is to simplify the process. Unlike the past, when we issue the card will be at our office, we have to call you to come to our office to come and pick it up. This time around, no, she has streamlined it that when you need the card, it is only when you apply for the card. When you apply for the card, once it's ready, you collect it from the bank branch you apply for. And also, it can be delivered at your doorstep. Quite unlike what we had in the past. And also the use cases. What she has done is to streamline it in such a way that for both the public and the private sector, the use cases can be applied. Not only federal government, even state government. Currently, we are working with several state governments in the country. And some of them...
So how much would this card be?
Okay, I'll say this. NIMC is not going to say or determine, say, this is what you pay. No. The bank, because NIMC is not working in silos, so we are working in conjunction with the CBN, NIMC, and the banks. So when we get to that time, all the parties will sit down. NIMC is to provide the foundational identity upon which this card will be layered.
Okay.
So the respective private sector will determine how and when and what they want to.
Sorry, just the same way some of this your front end partners, charge people who come to register for NIN?
In fact, let me come in that case. The front-end partners are not supposed to charge any fee for the enrollment and issuance of the NIN.
But they do.
And one of the things we have done in the last 1 year of Engineer Bisoye administration is we have sanctioned a lot of these FEPs. In fact, some of them, their licenses were withdrawn. And when she came on board, the first thing she did was to do a revalidation of the licenses of all these FEPs to ensure that they conform with the standard, especially the ethical standard of the enrollment processes. So it is basically free. Anyone, we have issued out several notices and several platforms where Nigerians can actually report cases of, and this enrollment they are doing. In fact, the DG mentioned yesterday at the media party that this enrollment we are doing, the FEPs are supposed to be paid. And as of yesterday, I can confirm to you that all the money hold the FEPs since the inception of the operation have been cleared.
Because I was going to say that if you say they shouldn't charge, and someone has opened his office and is running a generator, and but you've cleared that.
In fact, we paid them. Okay, let me quickly add. Sorry, ma. Let me quickly add. When Engineer Bisoye came on board in last year, we were owing these FEPs about 2 years enrollment fee, because they signed an agreement they will be paid XYZ amount of money per enrollment that successfully hits the database. That is the enrollment that generates NIN. And they were not paid for 2 years before she came on board. So she took it upon herself to approach the funding partner, which is the ID4D, that look, these are my partners and I need your support for them to be paid. And she went through the rudiments, did all she needed to do, and all the money being owed them have been cleared. So we are not in
Sorry, please. Sorry, please. Let me quickly, because you said something now that all of the enrollments that successfully hit the database. So sometimes someone has registered, for instance, in Benin City, and you come to Lagos with the hope that the registration there is, already in the database, and you want to use it, and they are telling you it's not recognizable. What would you say happened in that instance?
Okay, once you have enrolled in Benin City, like you said, and you have been issued the NIN, and you come to Lagos to re-enroll, the system is configured in such a way that it will flag it. Because once you enroll, your fingerprint, like Dr. Peter said, once your fingerprint is placed on the fingerprint scanner, the system will scan through to ensure that this person has not enrolled. Once there is a resemblance of that fingerprint, it will flag it.
I'm not even talking about double registration now. I'm talking about the NIN that was issued, for instance, in Imo State. And because I have come to Lagos, and they're telling me they can't find it in the database because I did it with one of your front-end partners.
Okay, let me explain. Now, what we realize is that there's nothing like double enrollment, double registration in NIMC. NIN is issued once, and it is rested upon the death of the NIN holder. Now, from the front-end partners, yes, there could be one or two issues. For instance, you might want to do what we call bypass. Some of them might have gone to the place to do a bypass enrollment. The bypass enrollment simply means that the fingerprints were not captured. We don't know the purpose. It could be for ulterior or for whatever nefarious activity. The system will flag it. So when they come to Lagos to get it, the system will say, no, you have not enrolled. Because enrollment is not only the demographic factor, but also the biometrics, which includes the iris, the face, and the fingerprints. And that is why for us, you cannot cheat the system. The system will flag it.
Now, Dr. Ubu, the card, you say, can be used to withdraw money and to make payments.
Exactly.
Are the banks not kicking against that? Because if I have an account in, say, 3 different banks now, I would naturally carry 3 different cards. But when this comes into operation, I can use that one card to withdraw from my 3 bank accounts. Is that correct?
Not exactly, but let me explain.
Please explain.
It is correct that the card will be enabled for payment. The current card, where it's a 3-in-1 valued card, it enables you to have evidential identification to be able to say this is who I am, particularly for very remote areas where they do not have any means of identity. Unlike some of us here who probably have an international passport, whatever license, a lot of Nigerians do not have any. So it will solve that problem. Second one is that it also enables us to financially include some of these people who have been financially excluded. And the second part of the usage is the use case is that, like you rightly mentioned, the card enables you to participate in financial services, which means you can do exactly what your debit card can currently do for you. Withdraw money, make payments on the web, transfer money, all of them can be done. Now, in terms of are the bank kicking against it, the banks, we're working with them and we're creating value for them. We're bringing to them almost over 100 million possible customers who they can bank with, who they can have relations with, and issue these cards. Two is that the banks are already issuing a debit card. What we're also adding to it is additional value to the debit card they are issuing. And the way it's designed is that you can only have, because it's a national ID card, you can only have the card from one bank. You have to decide which of your banks do you want to use for your national ID. And once you have to make that choice, you also have, it's flexible. You can also decide 2 days after, I no longer want this bank. I want to go another bank. You also cancel and another bank will issue to you. Now, the other bit of it which I also want to emphasize is like, we're not just focusing on issuing this card through the banks. We realize the fact that a lot of Nigerians do not really go to bank, do not have a bank account, particularly the vulnerable, the people that the government is trying to intervene to help. They do not have a banking relationship. So we have another program that we call Government to People Payment Card, which enables the government through those agencies that are intervening in those areas to issue this card to these people as part of that program. So if I have a card that I want to issue to farmers in Ilaje, I probably will gather the farmers, the agency of government, be it Ministry of Intervention, be it Ministry, whatever agency of government that is responsible for providing that palliative. As part of delivering this palliative, we arrange to issue this card to them, so they are not expected to now pay for that card. Because the program that is providing support to them, we arrange for them to be able to have this card. And that card enables them to enjoy different services. It's not just to withdraw money. The card also enables the government to be able to provide a very secure means of administering their support. It has wallets, it enables us to do grants. For example, if you are doing a grant to agriculture, the wallet defined for agriculture will be defined so that that wallet will only be used for that purpose which is defined for. So if I'm giving money for people to buy fertilizer, we are not giving them cash. We are giving them token. We are giving them numbers with which they can use to access that agriculture. So that you don't give the person money to buy fertilizer and the person decides to use that to go and buy bicycle or buy whatever. So you are sure that that money that you are intervening for a particular sector to help the sector is for that purpose. Yes. So that's one of the things. So therefore, there are two ways we are approaching this, and it's based on our history. When the current DGCO resumed, what she did as a very smart lady is to analyze the problem we have had in the past in terms of issuing these cards. One of those problems was distribution. One of them was acceptance and pickup. One of them was also the funding to be able to produce those cards. So it is in addressing this issue, and that's the reason why we are now working with the private sector. We're working with the bank through NIMC and CBN. We're working with MDAs who are also intervening and relating with the people to be able to use that to issue those cards. So distribution is in a way reduced because you can walk into any bank. You can make your choice. When you want to make a choice on the online portal, you can decide the bank you want. You can decide the branch you want to pick it. You can decide if you want to go there to pick it yourself or you want them to deliver. It's a choice for you to make. When you make all those choices, the card will be produced and will be delivered based on what you have selected.
Are cards being produced at the moment?
Yes, we have the cards being produced, but we're doing some security check because it's a security card. It has a lot of security features. We have the sample card, test card have been produced. So in the next one or 2 months, we want to use that to do all those end-to-end testing to be sure that everything that is required in that card is in place, and then we'll begin to roll it out to the public.
Okay. How does one get a NIN now?
Okay, simple. All you need to do is to go to a NIN enrollment center, either in the local government, the state office, or at any of our front-end partners.
Must I go somewhere?
Okay. Currently,
can't I do something online?
Can I just pick that one up? You see, what the very hardworking Gigi has also come up with that. She came up with self-enrollment portals where you don't necessarily need to visit our
go anywhere.
Don't, and also
person to person
one of the things we realize that a lot of people who come, the crowd that come to our office are coming not even for fresh enrollment. Some of them are coming for modification. Oh, my address has changed. I got married. My date of birth.
Yes.
So she's brought a self-modification portal where people can, through AI, which is an AI-enabled system that enables you to initiate and conclude those modifications without necessarily coming to our office. Yeah. And however, we are like I explained earlier on, we're not waiting for people to come to us. We're trying to go to them, which is the reason why we're going to the world. We're partnering with the schools to go to the secondary schools to be able to enroll people. There's another partnership we've had, which has been consummated and announced to the public, is that before now, when a child is born, you have to wait for a while to bring the child to an enrollment center for the person to be enrolled. What we have also come up with is like through partnership with Nigerian Population Commission, that at birth, as they are issuing the birth certificates, a NIN is also generated, so that people don't have to wait to come to our office to get the NIN. So we are working towards making life easy and smart for Nigerians through the NIN and also with the card.
Okay. So where is the portal that we go to now to get a NIN?
Okay. In addition to what Dr. Peter said.
I want the portal.
Okay, the portal. No. The portal we have now that is working optimally is the portal for the modification. Now, if you have been issued a NIN and you want to modify your probably date of birth, name, maybe for those who were not married before, addresses, phone number. That portal is what is working optimally and actively now.
So how do I go about it?
Okay, the portal is self-service modification at NIMC.gov.ng.
Self-service
modification at NIMC. No, sorry, self-service modification.NIMC. self-service.nimc.gov.ng. Self-service modification.nimc.gov.ng.
So now, if there are any changes you want to make regarding the information on your NIN card or regarding your NIN.
Yes, you don't need to physically go to our office. No. Like what was obtainable in time past.
Yes.
All you need to do is to visit this portal.
Self-service modification.nimc.gov.ng.
Once you click,
just go there and you'll be able to make any amendments that you want to make.
Exactly. But what it requires is, first and foremost, it will ask you for your NIN. And also you will do a capture, it will capture your face to ensure that you are actually the person
who you say you are.
It's an AI-enabled portal. And like you said, we're also coming up with what you have said, but it's in the pipeline, it's in the test stage. We are testing it to be sure that once we come out with it, we won't have issues. So the DG, like we said earlier, she's working on so many fronts. We've solved the issue of not visiting our centers for modification. From the comfort of your homes and offices, you can modify it. We are also working on that concept of enrolling at the comfort of your homes and offices.
Okay.
That portal is going through what we call the UAT, User Acceptance Test stage now.
Okay.
So that when it comes out, you won't have to be going to our centers. But for now, we have the one for modification working optimally.
Okay. So I want to do I have gone to the modification portal. I have filled in my information.
Yes.
How long will it take for me to get confirmation that all I have input is now effective?
Within 24 hours. It will ask for your email address. Then once you put your email, immediately after you submit, you will receive a notification that this has been submitted to NIMC, and you get like a receipt, what we call a transaction ID slip in your email. Then within 24 hours, you will get a response that your modification for so has been effected. So kindly go ahead with your transaction.
For
24 hours.
Yeah. For some Nigerians, once you do a registration, you've moved on.
Okay.
Speak to the importance of this modification where it is needed speak to that importance.
Okay, the importance is, for instance, we have harmonized, NIMC has harmonized our data with all existing government agencies that are involved in data capturing. So what it means is that, for instance, if
my house address has changed.
I even want to use, like, let's say the Nigerian Immigration Service, the Nigerian passport. Maybe before, on the passport, your surname was maybe Adegoke Feyikemi. But now you have been married. So in your NIN slip, in your NIN, your surname is now Iwebu Feyikemi. When you want to get your passport, you need to update your, initially when you were enrolled for NIMC, sorry, it was Adegoke Feyikemi, but now you are married. All you need to do is to go to that portal and change it to that Adegoke. Then maybe you have moved your address from maybe Sherry North 1 to maybe Magodo. In that case, you have to go to our office to change, sorry, you have to go to the portal to change that.
Because if you drop the name, I think, and the passport office goes for your NIN and they see a different
mismatch. Yes, that's why you need to update. That's why the essence of that portal. So, for instance, when you get to the portal and they say, oh, what you have in NIN is different from what you have here, you don't need to rush to our office. You can, at that same place,
and
you can.
Then the names, because I think someone was telling me that, okay. So her name is, for instance, Sandra Osinachi Obohai. And then she puts it Osinachi Sandra Obohai, and it's still the same three names, but the arrangement. How important is that?
You have to rearrange it using the self-portal modification, the self-service modification portal. You are rearranging it to conform with the one you have with the Nigerian immigration. Because if it's not, the passport will not be issued to you. So that's why we are telling Nigerians that NIMC has harmonized as part of our mandate to harmonize our data with all government agencies. We have done that. So even for the road safety, you want to get your driver license. If there's any mismatch, it will not be issued. So you have to use the self-service notification portal.
Dr. Iwebu, you are all, I mean, the NIMC belongs to the same ministry as the Immigration Service. Am I correct?
Exactly.
So, if I have gone through all this for my NIN, why then do I need to go for capture again at the passport office when I want a passport? It's the same ministry.
And since you said the harmonization has happened,
you have my fingerprint, you have my photograph, which is what they need at the passport office as well. You already have it.
Okay, I think you are right, madam. To start with, what we are doing, which is part of our mandate, is to harmonize our identity information across the country. I should only be one Peter Iwebu. So therefore, if I'm one Peter Iwebu, it means that if I go to any place that requires me to be identified, it's the same Peter Iwebu that should be seen. What we just said is what we're working on to achieve that full harmonization in such a way that the Immigration Service does not necessarily need to recapture your biometric. But because your biometric remains your biometric. So it serves as an additional information because we provide foundation identity. The agencies provide functional identity for their use. So what we are provided, once we are provided there with the foundation identity, which includes your biometric, your picture, your name, and that. If that's sufficient for them to do, they carry out their functional duties, they are not meant to capture anything. But they serve as additional information that is required for them to do their work. They cannot capture those ones. We're harmonizing already with immigration. We'll get to that point where all you need to supply to immigration is your NIN. They can pull other details. We're harmonizing with even in the banking industry that if you want to open a banking account today, you don't necessarily need to go there and you need to be captured afresh. They will just take your NIN, pull your details, and be able to continue. What that is helping us is also to help us fight some level of security so that who you are at every point in time.
I was going to say this too, because when we talk about insecurity, we talk about people who kidnap and, you know, they still have some form of contact with using their phones, and they still are not able, in some cases, to be traced. So how is, you know, this identification, verification, you know, helping in any way?
Okay. As we speak, the security agencies are using our database for their tracking, for their investigations and whatever. And if you recall too, there was a mandate that every telephone number must be linked to the NIN. All is in an attempt to tie everybody around so that anywhere you go, we can trace you and say who you are. But what has happened is that there are a lot of people who have multiple phone numbers. And you just mentioned one example about somebody going to a front-end processor, a front-end partner to go and do enrollment. What you find out is that some of those front-end partners, maybe out of, because they are being paid by number of successful NIN, they are in a hurry to see how they can generate as much as possible. We have a program that allows you to enroll amputee that doesn't have fingerprint. So if you go there, they'll say, oh, don't worry about your fingerprint, I will enroll you as an amputee. So what now happens is that when you come to do your verification, like the guy who enrolled in Benin, perhaps they have bypassed the biometric. So when you now come to do verification and you put your biometric and say it does not exist, because the person that enrolled in Benin does not have a fingerprint. Yeah. So what we have found out that a lot of these FAP are not following the procedure that they have been trained with. So they capture people with incomplete information. And you know the way. But I
thought that if that happens, there's something that will flag it on your own system.
Yeah, it will flag it because amputee is normal, that people can be amputee. So if I have enrolled someone who's not an amputee as an amputee, it's only if that person appears to do something else that we cannot confirm that the person is not truly an amputee, and then we'll block it. So and that's how it's possible for someone to have enrolled and it comes back and say my NIN is not working because there's a manipulation, let me put it in quote, in the verification process, which is what we are emphasizing. Our monitoring and system has been enhanced to ensure that all these FEP, some of them are sanctioned, some have been withdrawn, their licenses withdrawn, to ensure that they're following the right thing to do. So I think that's part of the thing. And then the other bit of it you also find is that when people, because our act allows us to register children and attach them to the NIN of their parents, the biometric for children doesn't really mature. It's not matured as at the time you're capturing them.
Particularly now that you say you want to do for babies.
For babies. So what has happened therefore is that the mandate is that when you are 16 years and above, when we think that your biometric has actually matured, you are meant to come back to do validation. Some of the things I've also discovered is that people don't come back to do that validation. They have grown. They were enrolled at 13, they are 21 now, and they continue to use those NIN. And then when you use it, because the biometric is not matured, you will not be able to.
Shouldn't there be a check at your own end for instance, you registered a baby, you know that in 16 years it's supposed to come back to do,
Yeah, the check exists because at 16 the system flagged it up and will reach out to the people to say but you need to come and do the upgrade to upgrade your biometric.
Otherwise,
it's blocked. So what we do now is that if you give you sufficient time to come back, if you don't come back, the NIN is suspended. Okay. And a lot of people now are now forced to come back because they can no longer transact with their NIN. They come back.
All right. Thank you so much.
I think in addition, let me state this quickly.
Very quickly.
Quickly, I must commend our dear President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, for the effective working relationship between NIMC and the security agencies. In the last 1 year of his administration, a lot have been done using the NIN. For security matters, most of them are not public. You have to. But let me state this on here. A lot has happened.
And a lot more needs to be done.
Yes, right. We will still do
All right. Thank you so much, Head Corporate Communications at NIMC, Dr. Kayode Adegoke, and the Director Card Management Services, NIMC, Dr. Peter Iwegu. Thank you both for being on the show this morning.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here today.
Okay, we'll be back in just a moment, and we'll still have more for you. Just stay with us.